Alright, so for this question, what I've asked you to do is study the following graph using an example from your own experience or one from the World Wide Web. What are the factors that influence the opportunity for change? So the first thing that you need to do is look at the graph and understand what opportunity for change really is. Right, so early on during a project, when not a lot of the project has been defined, obviously the opportunity for change is quite big because not a lot has been done. We haven't spent a lot of money, we haven't done many of the designs, and therefore it would be easy to influence the design outcomes by doing changes to it. But as the project progresses through the stages of the project itself, obviously it becomes more and more difficult. Why? Because more and more work has been done. So during the pre-feasibility stage, we maybe do a few plans and do financial stuff. Then we go to the feasibility stage and we do some more planning, and we might even do a few models and do a few prototypes. But when we start going towards basic development, this is now where we start doing detailed planning and execution plans and project execution plans and all of that stuff. It becomes really difficult for us to change the outcome of the project. We can still change it, as you can see on this line, but the associated cost of change becomes prohibitive. Alright, so the more changes we want to do later on in a project, the more it's going to cost us. Right, so what I want from you in this question is basically explain that principle in your own words and then give me an idea of what can influence the possibility of change. For instance, a new scope development or scope creep or anything like that that you have on your project that might influence the way that you see it. That might be one item that you can have a look at. Another item might include might be the completion of a large section of the work or associated work. For instance, if you have multiple contractors on site, somebody might be busy with air conditioning ducting and they have conflicting layouts. Alright, so those are the things that will influence the change possibilities. So if I ask for the opportunity for change, obviously what I'm actually after is what will influence the possibility of applying changes to the project. Alright, so that should clear up that question for you. And just looking at the last question that you asked, you also said, are we undertaking this question with a specific case study? Well, no, not really. You can just give me examples of the projects that you've worked on in the past, or if you can't find any, maybe collaborate with one or two of your other fellow students and come up with something. Or if you can't find anything like that, come up with a project on your own. Just say, this is my own fictitious project, and I think these are the items that might cause a hang-up for us later on. Alright, so the second question that you had, if I look at that second question, and see if I can find that again. So in the second question you say, I understand the basis of this question required. I am however confused about the schematic project work breakdown structure. I understand that a WBS is, and I under to using this in determining construction works and I understand what is trying to be achieved in outline the relationships. What I'm confused about though is how to combine the WBS with relationships in a schematic format. Alright, so what we do, and you can find this in week number 5 and week number 6, you can have a look at how I've done it over there. So what I basically want from you is just a diagram like this, and the employer will always sit on top. Alright, so there's one example. If we go to another example that might be a little bit clearer, let's start with this one, and this is typically what the EPCM contract will look like. Right, so there's our employer over there, and there's the WBS layout. Alright, so we've got the big project over there. You might even have the project on top of the employer, and underneath there you're going to have the different levels of the contract or the different levels of the project that you're going to have. And when I say you need to indicate the relationships, these are the relationships. So on the lines you can just draw or write in, I used Visio to create this. You can just draw in the types of contracts that you're going to use. So in this case, this was a specific type of contract, a new engineering contract, and this one used the engineering construction contract, or the ECC. But over there you can see there's a different type of contractual relationship, and that's called the professional services contract, or the PSC. Alright, and that's basically what you need to do for that question. So if we look at the previous one, there's just another way of looking at it. You can see I've given a key over here of how to look at it. I've also added some colors because the NEC runs in different types of colors, and you can use that format as well. Alternatively, you can use this as well, where you have the ECC. Remember we spoke about the engineering construction contract over there. Just draw it on the line, and that's as simple as that. Alright, so I hope that sort of sorts out the question that you had. If not, just send me another email and I'll respond to it as soon as I can.